Yes. The two things. First of all, I get used to it. It doesn't happen everywhere. It happens ironically. So, for example, I live in the United States, but CNN International is not widely shown in the United States. CNN USA is. And although I work for CNN USA and I do quite a lot for them, I'm not as well known there as elsewhere. So I can walk around New York quite happily and nobody virtually recognizes me. But if I come somewhere like Kenya or elsewhere in the world where we are well broadcast, then yes, you do get much greater, you get used to it.
You get used to it.
Absolutely. It just goes with the territory. And I will say one thing. I refuse to be one of these people who, oh, it's too much, oh, it's... No, I worked long and hard for this. I'm going to enjoy it. Tiredness.
Yeah.
Basically tiredness. When I am... People ask me constantly, is it an act? What they see on television, is it an act? Is it a... And I say no, but it is a performance. And by that I mean what you see on television is an accentuated version of oneself.
Okay.
If you try and do something that's different, if you try and pretend or act, it will come across as false. It will come across as insincere. And the viewer will very quickly be able to tell that's not what I'm really like. However, I'm much more likely to just be straightforward, straight with it, down the line, and perhaps a little more exuberant, as you would say, because it is a performance. It's both a good question and a dreadful question, because I don't think I've ever been asked that question when I'm having to think about what you mean by it. All of it's pretty straightforward. I guess knowing, you've got to be grounded. You have to be grounded. Not because you're on television and you're recognised, but because I've got a way of life that is a privilege. It is an absolute privilege. It's not a right. It's not an entitlement. That every day I go on television and people watch. And people, for whatever reason, like what they see. Now, it is not for me to say whether I am a success or not. That's up to others. I'll just do my best. But it is a privilege. And trying to remember, or keeping that front and foremost when you're tired. And it's, come on, think about it. I get to go places, speak to people, see things, do things, and get paid for it. It's a great honour. Success. It can be, as you well know, I'm going to be a pedant here. It can be anything. My definition of success is a balanced combination between material success, professional success, and personal happiness.
Have you achieved all that?
No. Remember what, I think it's Tales, the book by Marpen, Tales of the City, or Tales in the City, who said there are three things in your life. There's where you live, there's your apartment, there's your job, and there's your love life. You can never get all three going right at the same time.
Right.
One will always be in trouble.
Yes.
And I tried to ignore that when I read it.
Yes.
I tried to ignore it. But if I'm having a bad day at work or whatever, you suddenly go, oh, it is true. It's very hard to get all three right at the same time. My love life is absolutely splendid.
Okay.
Get to the airport early. I know that sounds so obvious.
Yes.
But today's flying is so unpleasant because of queues and lines at security, that if you get to the airport early and you've got a chance to, I now, if I'm flying to the States from London or long distance, I know the airport and I know there are one or two restaurants that are not just cafes that I'll enjoy going to. So I'll make a point of getting to the airport a bit earlier so I can go and have a meal in that restaurant.
Right.
And then it's fine. Then if something goes wrong, you're not flustered. You can take your time to deal with it. Know where you want to sit on the plane. Know the seat, mid window or aisle. Check in early online so you make sure you get the seat that you want if you can. And remember, it's a trial going flying. It's a real trial and tribulation.
Yeah.
And you've got to have fortitude. But as the aircraft takes off, and you realise there's a magic taking place. The wings take the strain of the plane, and up it goes. I flew economy from London to New York 2 weeks ago.
Whoa.
Well, the seat was nice.
A year ago you flew around the world.
Yeah, no, look, I have no problem flying economy. When I look at the ticket price of London to New York business class and I see it's $5,000 or $6,000, but economy plus is only $1,100, I'll go economy plus. Mm-hmm. And if I'm flying down with my partner to Miami or wherever, yeah, we could fly first class, but why pay $1,000 for a $200 ticket when you can have $800 left to spend on the better hotel or in the restaurants when you're there, and it's only a 2.5-hour flight?
Yes. Because you've been.
There's no, let me be clear, there's no cleverness in gratuitously handing over money to an airline unnecessarily. Now, will I fly economy to Australia from London? No. Will I fly to Hong Kong or Singapore economy? No. I'm 6'2". No, I'm claustrophobic. Oh, that's a good one. Well, obviously, I'm tempted to say New York or London, but I don't think it is. You're asking me if I was a city or a country, which would it be? It'd be Sydney.
Sydney, why?
Sydney or London.
Yes.
London, because it's cosmopolitan, it's exciting, it's vibrant, and it really does have a joie de vivre that you don't find. I don't think you find it in New York. New York is a big American city that is, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York. I mean, it is everything the song says. But London is just grace, elegance, and excitement. Now, Sydney is a way of life. The whole Australian Sydney, I don't know if you've ever been, but it's a way of life. You know, it's long weekends, it's hard work, and the Australians are really hard. They're really brutal in business. No, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. A, because my values are pretty well aligned to those of my company or CNN. And B, because CNN would make it clear that I was comfortable doing it. Oh, I'm not going to answer that question, and I'll tell you why. Because I have discovered that I'm truly dreadful at business.
Okay.
I cannot sell water in the desert. Many years ago, I was given a task of, I bought some wholesale jewellery to sell to my friends. My uncle, who was a very good businessman, told me to try it out. I lost money. If there's money to be lost in business, I will lose it. So it's best that I never go near it. I'm not an entrepreneur. I had to do a what do you call those tests, Jonathan? Psychometric test, evaluation, to see was I an entrepreneur? And the answer came back, no, you're not. I'm not an entrepreneur. I know how to work within an organization. I know how to pull the levers of getting things done within an organization. An element of, do you know, actually, I'll tell you what it is. I'm on the downward slope.
Downward slope.
Yeah, no, downward. You know, you spend your entire, we have a new colleague joining us, and I said to her, I'm 56. At best, I've got another 4 to 5 years before I, would think about retiring. Maybe 10 years, 5, 6, 7 years. But I'm on my career is heading towards a graceful close. I don't know what will come next. Only the Almighty knows that. But so the greatest part about being 56, and more so than your 40s, so I would describe the greatest part about being 56 is having a confidence in who you are and what you've achieved and where you are. And if you're clever, I think, or if you've got enough, if you've sat and thought about it, you are mentally preparing for the fact that you're about to move into a different phase of your career and your life. Now, you can fight it, you can argue against it, you can rebel, but it won't work. Very few people will manage it. I'll give you an example. Your 20, your teens, great. You're learning what sex is all about and how much fun life can be. Your 20s, you've now started to see your position on your career. You're really working quite hard, but you're still very insecure. Your 30s, your best years. You've got some money in the bank because you've moved up the ladder a bit. You've been around the world a few times, so you know how to live. Your 40s, now it's and my 40s were dreadful. Your 40s, you're starting to worry, is this it? I've now got this last push to get to the top of the ladder. I'm 40, and people always say, but so your 40s your 40s sows the seed of, can I go further, and how much further can I go? Your 50s I've pretty much probably reached the peak. Enjoy it and start thinking about how to capitalize on it towards retirement. My boss said to me once, Jeff Zucker, I was having a chat with him in his office, one of these things where annual reviews, and I was complaining, what's next, Jeff? I'm caught in the chair. What's next, Jeff? Why isn't this? And he just looked at me and he said, Richard, pause. Richard, you are just about at the top of your game, at the top of your career. Pause, enjoy it. And it's very difficult to do that. Very difficult. Because we are conditioned that there is a race to be run and you have to climb that greasy pole, to mix the metaphors. And so, if I take my time, it's time to start thinking about what next. Gay men tend to be more concerned about how fit they keep themselves. I guess I tend to go clubbing more often than most 56-year-olds. So my partner and I, we both have one thing I have learned, by the way, do not, if you are going to work out with your partner, you have to understand that neither of you can comment on each other's workouts. Hey, no, you shouldn't be doing that stuff. No, you need to be moving it. No, breathe better on this. So when Chris and I work out, we'll do the same exercises at the same time, but you don't, unless one of us is about to injure ourselves or do something really stupid. We've just found that we end up in an argument, which you can't use this language, but which ultimately turns into, you do your own fucking workout and leave me to do mine. No, but you answered your point. So what's the routine? Stretch and warm up. And then depending on the day, which body part I'm going to be working out on. Chest, it would be chest and biceps. Next day would be legs and running. Next day would be shoulders and triceps. Last day would be back or something like that. Yeah, I think it's absolutely an age. It's an age and a success thing.
Okay.
Yes, I think that when you suddenly realise that it's not going to be an issue, which is really difficult for youngsters. And if you want me to comment on that, it's really this. It is only when people of a certain age and seniority and whatever you want to describe it can talk like you and I are talking, that it creates an environment, particularly in the workplace. This is where it's crucial to look at these issues. It's in the workplace. I am exceptionally lucky. I work for a company that is gender blind and sexuality blind. Doesn't care who you are and what you're doing. Just cares whether you can do it. Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree.
So in talking about it with you, I need to be absolutely aware that the rest of the world does not see it that way. Maybe in London, no, maybe whatever. Now, here's a point I would say. What I really want, because this is a business paper, isn't it?
It's a lifestyle page.
Lifestyle page in a
business page.
Yeah. What I really like, what I really want, is when some kid says to their father, hey, you know that guy that you watch on television? Hey, you know he's gay. And the father or mother says, oh, I don't care about that. What interest is that? I want to know what he's got to say about the dollar. Ah, nonsense about it. Who do I care what he sleeps with? I'm very interested to hear how he interprets the latest market crash. And if we get to that stage, then we succeed. Ooh, the two of them.
Okay.
My trainer,
Trainer.
yeah, coach, trainer, workout,
Gym, yeah.
gym, my trainer, and my beach house.
Okay.
And it eats money. It absolutely eats money.
Yes.
But I love it.
How often do you go to the beach house?
Well, in the summer, nearly as many weekends as I can, or friends will use it.
Yes.
One of the great things about that was, I've not had it for that long, a couple of years, and it is lovely. It is really lovely to put together weekends where you invite groups of friends all to come together to have a weekend at the beach.
Where is it?
Where is it? Faroe Island.
So how do you fill your time when you're off work?
Well,
Do you read?
people think that I don't. People think I'm not able to switch off. It's not true. I switch off very easily in the right place. So I go to the beach, and I love lying on the beach. And we've got a place in Spain, and a place in my family. My mother has a place in Spain, and I have a place on Faroe Island in New York. And there's you can see the graph. I will go to the beach. The first couple of days I'll do no emails at all, or I'll just look at them in the morning, look at them at night, and I'll go sleepy, 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 and then I'll come up the other side, and I will start to wake up, and I'll start to have ideas, and I'll start to be firing off emails to colleagues. Why aren't we doing this feature? Have we thought about this feature? We really must think about there. Oh, I like this story. Have you thought about this? And by the end of my holiday, my colleagues are gasping for me to come back because I'm inundating them with ideas. It recharges. I'm not a celebrity. I'm just somebody who's on television. There's a big difference. Celebrity is somebody who's famous, Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston. Somebody who has an entire entourage of people that go around, rose petals in front of them. I've got Jonathan. No, so it's in a celebrity-dominated environment that is hyper-fueled by social media influencers who want nothing more than to be able to not have to wait at the velvet rope at the club. Mm-hmm. Who want to be recognised because they've worn something and they are somebody who's minorly well known in an environment of which they consider important. But we have turbocharged the concept of celebrity by this. And so when you say, what's it like being a celebrity, I recoil from that. Doesn't mean I'm not doing that. I want to be alone. I'm not doing that. I recognise that I am very well known and will get recognised on the street. But that's something that goes with my job. And somebody once said to me Robbie Williams, you can always tell somebody who doesn't call him Robbie Williams, who doesn't really know him versus somebody who does, because he doesn't go by the name Robbie to his friends. Mm-hmm. Insecure? Yeah. Oh, that's easy. Colleagues.
Okay.
Fellow presenters. Are they better than me? Am I better than them? Why have they got that story and I've got this story? If you've spent your entire working life really in a hyper-competitive environment, it is obvious you are going to be put under stress in that environment. I'm not particularly insecure about most things. Yeah, I'm insecure when we've done a good programme. Was it a good programme? Did I do well? That's not inviting you to say, yeah. But, did we do well tonight? If I was talking to myself, 40 years, do the best you can. Don't worry about it. And nothing is as bad as you ever think it is.
Thank you. Can I have a picture?
Of course, absolutely.